run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem been better. Gotta keep on chugging, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that, it's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up, I'm trying to get it in FT to get them when they're in hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities are never come unless you paying attention, so no, I can't miss that. Moving, MVP, I got the record, I might have to prove something. Big jumper worthy, they gon' have to retire my jersey early. Whole crew coming, had to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket. Yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits. Yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no wins. Yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen. Putting hours in my practice, I did all that. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my big dog, walking big talk, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them. This is my ship, I'm a jacket like Letterman. Y'all better not let them in, they gon' rotate this, so I keep the pedaling. Started a chain, the cycle is heaven sent. This is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit. I'm a pit bull in this element, yeah. Said you gon' pull up, then settle it, yeah. I've been married to this hustle, this is my ring, watch out step in it, yeah. And I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here. Watch out touchdown, pulling plans out the clutch. Everybody getting crushed, the cut down is for us now. Have to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket. Yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits. Yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no wins. Yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen. Putting hours in my practice, I did all that. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off.
Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Jason is in the building, tired as hell, and so am I. But of course, it's 4 p.m. on Sunday, and we will be here live every Sunday, so don't you worry. Jay, what's going on with you, man?
I'm trying to make it through a slow boxing week, but it is what it is.
It's been incredibly slow.
Up, though.
Yeah, it's been incredibly slow. We knew it was going to fall off a cliff after Spence versus Crawford, so it is what it is. But we still going to bring to you guys what it is that we have and, keep it moving, Jay. So, first of all, I want to give shout out to the sponsors, Rock Dog Interactive. If you need anything relative to graphic designs, websites, things of that nature, Rock Dog Interactive, go check them out. Black Father Figures, that's the League of Legacy. I haven't seen the league in a while. I need to catch up with them. But that is the League of Legacy doing wonderful work out here in the community. And then the Dodge Vodka, that's our newest sponsor. Oh man, one of the best tasting vodkas I've ever tasted. Kiwi based vodka. You guys need to go check it out, www.nadajvodka.com. So Jay, as we always do, we don't mess around. We jump right into the thick of it because we don't like giving the people all that fluff that some folks like to. So where are we going to begin?
Yeah, just quick shout out to Gina. She said it's her first live-in call. So welcome, Gina, to the family.
What's going on, Gina? Gina is a member. I think she became a member maybe like 3 weeks or so ago. So you guys think about becoming members, man, supporting the channel. It helps us to bring you this great content. So, Jay, where do you want to start, man?
Well, it looks like Mark is already talking about it. Let's go ahead and get this out the way, man. Alycia Baumgardner test positive for PEDs. More to come on that. What's your take on that?
Well, I've always said she was just too doggone fine. It had to be something behind that, but. No, in all seriousness, I don't know, man. It's weird. So we did a video on it this past week about her failing her, I think it was her B sample. And it was a test that I believe was on July 12th, if I'm not mistaken. And she had a test before that and a test subsequent to the fight, and both of those came back negative, but the one on the 12th came back positive. So I thought that was. Oh man, I just realized that my doggone thing ain't in the. I'm on under my full government name. We got to change that.
But yeah, nah. The thing with AB, it's just weird about those three. She's had 3 tests basically. She had a test about a few weeks before that July 12th, and then she had another test after the fight. The test before the July 12th test, the test after the fight, both of those came back negative. So she's confused as hell as how the middle test will come back positive for a PED. So
I mean,
I'm waiting to see more information on that.
Yeah, it is confusing based off what she's telling us. Now, in my opinion, or at least I haven't seen any other information in regards to, the tests before and subsequent to the fight. So I don't know if, you got to believe what she's saying and that she had those negative tests. I don't really know what to make of it either. We'll see what ends up happening. Typically when, it's always more scandalous and you see the news headings in situations where, things go bad. But when the good news rolls around, right, when the person is found innocent or whatever, then you don't hear about that. So hopefully we can continue to listen out for that, and hopefully she comes back with some good news that she was not on some performance enhancing drug and that it was just a situation where, I don't know, a tainted test to some extent.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Because she's always been a clean fighter. Not saying that she couldn't test positive or something, but she's always been a clean fighter.
How you know she was a clean fighter?
Clean positive.
You mean clean results? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, she's always had clean results clean results and everything like that. So we'll see. It's just always a bad look whenever something like that happens to any type of fighter. But we'll see.
Yep. We shall see. I just hope, I saw a couple of videos or articles out there talking about Eddie Hearn's fighters and how many of them have shown up or popped dirty. So Alycia Baumgardner, we know Dillian White. What's the big guy, man, that popped dirty when he was about to fight AJ? I can't think of his name right now. No. Black guy.
Povetkin pop. Povetkin pop. Oh, you talking about Big Baby?
Yeah, Big Baby.
Jermall.
Yeah, I couldn't think of his name for nothing. I could see his face, but yeah,
Conor
him.
Ben.
Yeah, Conor Ben. So yeah, there's been a lot of Hearns fighters that have been popping dirty, and to me, what that means or what that is indicative of is the fact that they're using the cheap stuff and everybody using the more expensive stuff. Because I would not be surprised that if there's other athletes in the sport of boxing that are some of the drugs that they currently have out there from a PED perspective is so advanced they will never get caught. So I'm surprised that Alycia Baumgardner would have been caught with something that's so, like, of course they're going to catch that, right? Like, why would you do that kind of steroid when there's so many other different forms of PEDs that you can use that are so much more difficult to detect? So that's another component of it. But I don't know, man. We shall see.
Yeah, man. So we'll see. More tests. She's adamant that she didn't do anything wrong. So we'll see, man. I'm hoping it was just some type of tainted test or something, some type of mistake like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the same.
But if it comes out that it was wrong, it was correct, then she has to face the consequences of her decisions for that PED.
Yeah, which should be no different from the consequences that Canelo Alvarez faced.
What was that? Like a 2-day suspension that he faced?
I don't remember. I don't quite recall, but if it was something, it wasn't severe.
Not one severe at all for him. So.
All right.
Mark says she needs one for stamina. That's a fact, because she does gas out.
Facts. Like, why was she? That's the other thing. That's a great point, man. If she's on PED, why she gasses out so quickly? Like, you would think she would be on something that would help her in terms of her endurance. And you're right, she gasses out fast, but that's partly because she's so much muscle, and that muscle eats so much oxygen.
Yeah.
So
Canelo he only got like a 6 months. But the thing about him when he got the 6 months, he was also dealing with supposedly like a knee injury, I believe, at the time. So it just coincided with his rehab for the knee injury. So
yeah. So what do we got next on the docket, my brother?
So let's see here. So some interesting news coming up. So looks like Keyshawn Davis may have hinted that Shakur and Frank are in negotiations for a fight for the WBC strap. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. Let me just reply to Gina. Gina, they fight 2 rounds. They don't fight 3 rounds.
You mean 2-minute rounds? Yeah, they fight 2 minute rounds.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 2-minute rounds. Yeah. Sorry, exactly, 2-minute rounds.
10 round max for the championship fights.
So, yeah, Shakur Stevenson. So, I've been predicting this. I think I started predicting this the moment the WBC announced that they were mandating a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Vasily Lomachenko. I literally said Lomachenko is not going to fight him. And then you got to start looking down the rankings to see who's there. You got Isak Cruz, who just came off of a fight. Then you have William Zepeda, who is scheduled for a fight. So, and both of those guys have shown absolutely no interest in fighting Shakur Stevenson. So, then who's left? Frank Martin. And we already heard that Errol Spence say, or we heard Frank Martin and Errol Spence say that they wanted a fight with the big names for Frank. And so it made sense that they would negotiate this fight. And then there was some place I saw where someone said that it was like, the fight was like, I think it was, actually I'm thinking about a David Benavidez and Andre fight right now, so disregard that. But basically there are rumors out there that this fight is close to being made, and that they've been negotiating for the fight. So I think the fight's going to end up happening. I think it'll be a great fight for 135 pounds, another great fight for 2023 if it materializes in 2023, and it should. So I'm stoked about that fight, dude. Stoked about it, absolutely stoked, because I think it gives Shakur Stevenson the opportunity to establish himself at 135 pounds. And I think Frank Martin is a legitimate fighter at 135. And then it gives Frank Martin what he desires, is the opportunity to showcase his skill against one of the best fighters in the division, and also the opportunity to win a title. So I'm stoked about that fight. I can't wait to see it if it materializes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a win-win for everybody. Win-win for Frank, Shakur, and definitely us as the boxing community that want to see the fight. Because they've been sitting on the shelf for too long. This fight needs to happen, especially with Loma not going. He's avoiding Shakur. High risk, low reward. Because Loma just wants to get the one fight for the undisputed. And then we know Isak just wants a payday, so he's waiting on the Tank fight, rematch rather. So next up is Frank. So I just hope they hurry and get this fight done. I hate the fact that Keyshawn, leaked that tweet and then deleted it the way he did. I just don't like, one fighter speaking on another fighter's business negotiations and dealings like that. So, but we'll see. Hopefully they get that fight done this year. I think it should happen probably November. Yeah,
I'm just reading some of the messages in the chat. So BL said, Keyshawn reminds me of Scrappy Dude. Let me at him. And then he says, Keyshawn is talented, but he talks a lot. And then when people challenge him, he says, I only got 9 fights. Why you trying to fight me? LOL. Facts. That is Keyshawn Davis to a T, to an absolute T. And then Band Up said, keep tapping in with the AM Podcast 100. I got some cooking to do. Perfect. Band Up. One of the biggest Terence Crawford supporters that's on the channel. People don't think we got Terence Crawford supporters that support this channel, but we do.
Brenda McDonald was in here earlier.
Oh, okay. I miss Brenda. That's my girl. So I agree with the Keyshawn comments. I mean, but I think, you know what? And Shakur talks a lot too, but I think it's a part of their marketing strategy, honestly. That's what, I was thinking about this past week, and I said, you know what? Maybe it's just this generational thing where you just go and and you hop on Twitter to talk about everything, right? So whether it's contract negotiations that you should be talking with your promoter about, or it's who you want to fight, so forth and so on. But then I started to think about the fact that when we were growing up, we talked a lot of shit too. Like we were cash shit talkers, and especially Floridians. If you grew up in Florida, you know about that. And I just think
it's part of your DNA in Florida.
Absolutely, that's what we do. So I just think these two guys are just pulling from that, where we're talking shit, but we're just doing it in a different form, right? We did it on the streets. They do it virtually and through social media. So I think this is just a way that they market themselves. I think Keyshawn is marketing himself. I mean, because think about it. What fighter do you know with 8, 7, 8, 9 fights that we would be talking about at this point? We wouldn't be talking about Keyshawn if he wasn't talking about some of these other fighters. So I just think he's running his mouth to get attention. Now, whether he believes it or not, I don't know. But it's perfect marketing, and I'm fine with that. I'm going to keep playing into the marketing. In about a week or so, I'll forget that it's marketing, and then I'll start going at his head on videos for the things that he says. But I really do it. When you step back and think about it, man, I really just think it's marketing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with both of them, though, is like, Bud's their big brother, right? But Bud has accomplished more than what both of them have done.
Facts.
They're trying to be like, they have Bud's ability. They have the fact that, when Bud beats Spence, they feel like they beat Spence. And they feel like they can demand all this extra stuff. They haven't done that yet. Bud has done his part right now. So Bud can demand whatever the hell he want right now. They cannot.
Yeah.
Keyshawn, you can't sit there and just keep saying, I only got 9 fights, and then talk shit, I only got 9 fights when people come for your head.
Yeah, that's the part.
Both ways.
Yeah.
And then, his last fight, he talked bad about Frank's last fight, and his last fight was not the best neither. So I'm like, he can't have it both ways. I just get tired of that, man. I get tired of it. And I think the world of Shakur is his fighting ability. I think Shakur can be on that next level. We just gotta see him get tested. And when I say tested, gotta see him fight somebody, especially at 135. He's only had one fight at 135, so I mean, he doesn't have anything at 135 to really for us to be like, okay,
Whoa.
he's the man at 135.
Who was the fight that he had with? Was it Yoshino?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Shakur passes the eye test, and I think I'm gonna be honest with you.
Definitely.
Let's be clear. Shakur's stock has risen with Terence Crawford's stock, and here's why. Terence Crawford was so dominant in that fight, and Shakur Stevenson has been linked to him so many times and has been compared to him in terms of style, IQ, so forth and so on. Although Shakur has the Olympic pedigree and Terence Crawford didn't, I think his stock has risen too. Listen, I guarantee you, people that thought that Frank and Shakur could have been a closer fight or a close fight, or even maybe had Frank winning, probably are now reconsidering that after the Errol Spence performance, and maybe the Frank Martin performance as well against Artem was also a defining factor in changing people's opinion. But when I look in the comments section now, and I think about 8, 9, 10 weeks ago, you saw more, hey, Frank can win, Shakur win. You saw more of a 50-50, 60-40. Now when you look at the comments and you see or you read anything associated with those two fighters, then you get the vast majority of people saying that Shakur will beat him and maybe even wash him. Now, that might be partly due to the fact that our comment sections are now flooded with Terence Crawford fans. Really, that's all they're posting our comments now. All those Errol Spence fans, I need you guys to come back. We need balance in the chat. They're killing me in the chat. We need balance. But Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, as far as the Shakur Frank fight, I can't say it's Bud Spence 2.0 because Bud has the power. We knew Bud had power. Shakur, on the other hand, he really didn't have the power like that. You know what I'm saying? He won his last fight by knockout, but I'm not really impressed with Shakur's power. I'm impressed with his boxing IQ in the ring. That's where he wins the fight. Him against Frank, the way Frank struggled against his last fighter who was an Olympian, that'd be a long night for Frank, unless Frank is able to make the adjustments that he really didn't make last time. You know, I see Frank and Shakur. I see Shakur definitely the way Frank fought last time. Shakur win the fight. I don't think it'll be by a knockout, but he can definitely dominate him.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what he does. I need to see. I want to see Shakur, see more Shakur, because I think his boxing IQ was top notch. You know, he's such a defensive fighter. He's very good in there, smooth in it. So, I want to. That's why I want to see more from him. I want to see him again against the Tanks and others like that. But this Frank fight, I'm here for it. Definitely here for it.
Man, this Edward Torres guy is such a troll. Edward Torres, Jason knows boxing, and then he says, "Fan first, Greg." That's cool. All right, Jay, anything else, man? Yeah, no, but as far as Shakur Stevenson is concerned, no, I want to see more of Shakur as well. I think he's a legitimate, rising star. But with everybody else, and just like everybody else, you got to prove it, right? It's not just about, talking the talk. You got to prove it against the highest level of competition. When you look at that weight class, the highest level of competition is going to be Gervonta Davis. And I can't wait till they both get to a point where they can make that fight. I think if Shakur makes that fight and he beats Frank Martin, then in my opinion, he needs to call out Tank. That's where he needs to go next, in my opinion. Sure. Yeah. Call out Tank. That's where you need to go next, because that's the biggest fight that can be made at 135 pounds. And I feel like Tank is a complete fighter. I feel like Shakur is a complete fighter. The only difference between the two, in my opinion, is that Tank has a lot of power. A lot of power.
Yes. And he has a high boxing IQ. He just ain't a slugger. That's what makes Tank dangerous. He has the power and he has a high boxing IQ.
Facts.
So he ain't just one trick pony like some other fighters that have power and nothing else.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
So I can't wait. And yes, to what 619 Planet 619 was talking about. I sent you something earlier about that picture we saw of Loma versus Kambosos that Shakur retweeted.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
And a lot of us kind of figured that Loma was possibly fighting Kambosos for the payday. That's it. Because if he can't be undisputed in one shot, I think he's going for the payday next. So Planet 619, I saw that same thing too. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Jay, what's your thoughts on this Popcorn Movies? Shout out to Popcorn Movies, $4.99. Appreciate you and your support for the channel. How do you guys feel about Bud dropping to 140 to fight Devin Haney? I don't like that at all.
Bud?
Yeah, he's saying Bud. I want to see Bud move up to 168 pounds. That's what I want to see him do. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing him. I actually want to see him at 175 against Bivol. Remember, skills pay the bills, not size.
You stupid, man. Nah, Bud against Haney at 140. Nah, Haney is for Shakur. He's for Tank. He's for Regis. Hopefully soon they get that fight signed. Nah, no need Bud dropping down to 140. Haney brings nothing to Bud. Absolutely nothing. No, it wouldn't be even a fair fight. Bud wouldn't even do that. Bud would actually son Devin.
Yeah, he's not. Devin's smart enough not to try that.
Man, but yeah, I mean, a couple other things up. So we talking kind of like fan-friendly fight. So on the undercard of not Shakur, but the Charlo Canelo fight is rumored to be Jesus Ramos versus Erickson Lubin.
Jesus Ramos. Yeah, that's being rumored. That's out there. So there's nothing official yet. It's interesting because, well, no, I'm not going to go there because I want that to be a surprise. But I saw a video that just dropped from YSM. Shout out to YSM. And it was Steven Espinosa, and he was talking about that particular fight. And he said he will not confirm nor deny that fight is on the table between Erickson Lubin and Jesus Ramos. But man, that if that fight is on the table, that's a very, very, very interesting fight. I like that fight. But just based off of Lubin's performance against Fundora, and Fundora being a very rangy fighter, but for whatever reason liking to fight inside. And you think about Jesus Ramos, I think he fights inside better than Fundora. And I think he's an overall just better fighter. He's more compact. I think he packs a wallop in terms of punching power. And we've seen what he's done to a number of different fighters. He's beaten Joey Spencer, beat Mendoza. So I like Jesus Ramos, and I would probably pick him versus Erickson Lubin. But I would need to, break down the film. But just based off of just my initial thoughts, I just, Erickson, I just don't think he'll be able to stand up to that pressure for 12 rounds.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a hell of a fight. I give Lubin credit, the way he fought Fundora, the way he kept coming and coming. But, man, Ramos, he looked good in his last fight against Joey Spencer. For sure. I know Joey Spencer ain't on that level with Lubin and some others, but Ramos and crack, man. So that's gonna be a hell of a fan-friendly fight. That's gonna be a real good fight.
That's a real good fight, man.
I'm here for that one.
I'm here for it too, man.
Before in general was good.
My only reservation as it relates to Erickson Lubin is that I know for a fact that he's from Orlando, Florida, but in his last fight, he mentioned something about West Palm Beach. Now on his Twitter, he has Orlando and Miami. I'm gonna need him to change that. It's Orlando and Orlando only. But yeah. I like the fight. I think it's going to be an exciting fight if they actually get that fight for the Canelo versus Charlo undercard, or as the undercard fight, or the co-main, or the co-feature, whatever you want to call it. But I don't see Lubin winning that fight, man. It'll be an entertaining ass fight for as long as it lasts, and it will not last. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, it can't be a firefight. Lubin, I don't think Lubin is suited for another firefight, man. That wouldn't be good for him. I think he has to be slick in that fight against Ramos.
I totally agree, man. That Ramos, man. He's a tough out. He's a tough out. So we'll see. We'll see what Lubin ends up doing. I'm trying to think of who was Lubin's last fight.
Damn it.
I just watched his last fight too, and I can't recall who it was at this moment. But anyway, yeah, I can't remember who it was. But anyway, that's a good fight, man, and I hope it ends up materializing.
Arias,
Jay.
Yeah. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
I can see the guy. I can see his face.
I can see him too because I just watched that fight not too long ago, but I couldn't remember his name for nothing. All right, Jay. Where do you want to go from here? And before we go to the next topic, we got 134 people in the building, 40 likes, guys. If you're in the building, please hit the like button. It helps people find the content. Also, if this is your first time to the channel, this is the Angry Man Podcast. We got a member in the building. Her name is Gina. She just recently joined the family. This is her first time on the live podcast, and she's enjoying herself so far, and I think you will too. So make sure that you join and become a part of the family. Jay, what's next?
Yeah, good question. Terence Best Videos. What happened to Fundora? I'm not sure. I thought he was trying to posture himself to get a rematch with Brian Mendoza. But I don't know what's going on with that right now.
I haven't heard nothing from.
I mean, he's been quiet.
Quiet. I haven't heard anything about Fundora, and I haven't heard anybody bring him up in the circles that sometimes we frequent. So I don't know what's going on with him. I actually reached out to him for an interview, and I haven't heard a response yet. But oh, by the way, we got an interview coming up tomorrow with Gary Russell Jr. that we're gonna drop. So y'all guys be on the lookout for that. Gary Russell Jr. He talks about a number of different things, including what he plans to do with his career moving forward. Yeah, check that out.
Yes,
but
sir.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. So moving on, Canelo's in there talking about his homie, his ex-homie, Oscar De La Hoya. He kind of ripped him a new one, saying that he's not trustworthy. And a lot of other people said that when Canelo was on the Breakfast Club, he talked there asking him about that, and Charlamagne was even like, every time Oscar talks, it's like you don't believe him, So what's your take on your boy Oscar, man? And Canelo finally actually opened up and kind of like letting people know, like, hey, Oscar is really not too trustworthy, but we already knew that anyway. But kind of good coming from someone else.
Yeah. I think Canelo's spot on. He talked a lot about being a family. I think he talked a lot about loyalty as it relates to Oscar De La Hoya, and really the fighters. It's more so about a business. And that's the issue that he has with Oscar De La Hoya, and just feeling like he's overall a fake guy. To Charlemagne's point, and to your point, and just anytime you actually see or hear anything from Oscar De La Hoya, man, you don't know how to take it. You don't know if it's actually real or just him being Oscar, right? So yeah. I can totally understand why Canelo felt the way that he felt. Now I do believe a part of it is that, you know, that whole situation with DAZN, because I think Canelo was basically fleecing them for dollars and not fighting some of the biggest fights that DAZN wanted them to fight so they can make their money back. And I think Oscar supported DAZN. I think that's part of the reason why their relationship materialized. But at the same time, I do believe that Canelo Alvarez has a point related to Oscar De La Hoya. He just seems like a fake individual. And even when you go back to the fight with Floyd was talking about, you know, Oscar always putting on the front and he needs to appear to be this and appear to be that. So I think he's spot on, and I think that's impacting Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, because I don't think fighters really want to deal with him because he's fake. Yeah, or at least he appears fake.
Yeah, Cool JC 26 said, any man who wears fishnet stockings can't be trusted.
Damn, that's cold.
Gotta agree with you. I just don't like the fact that, you know, he was talking about earlier this year, I forget which fight he had. I don't think it was the Tank and Ryan fight that they had made, because he didn't even want that fight. So he wasn't part of that fight at all. He didn't want that fight to begin with. There's another fight. He's talking about, I'm back, I'm making the best fights, and he hasn't done shit. We look at Zurdo. Zurdo had a fight with Bivol, got undressed and destroyed. His other guy, Munguia. Munguia's been backing out of fights like crazy. Mm-hmm. So it's just ridiculous.
Wasn't it Munguia that Munguia was supposed to? Wasn't it Munguia that avoided the David Benavidez fight? They were in negotiation with him before Boo Boo.
Yeah, he avoided him. He avoided before Maul had all these personal issues. Supposedly that was supposed to be in discussion as well. He backed out of that.
Yeah.
And we know about David Benavidez. So I mean, Oscar just is bad. I mean, they just need to leave Oscar, man, because he's not doing anything really for their benefit. I mean, not to mention the questionable reasons for him not showing up at the post fight at the Tank and Ryan. They're just leaving Ryan out there hanging. Supposedly he had, you know, threats, whatever. We don't know if that's true or not, but you know, he just doesn't seem genuine or anything, man. Not at all. Yeah. Brian said Oscar dressed like Genuine on tour.
I agree.
Oh man, that's dirty. But yeah, so now sticking on Canelo and what's up for him. He's fighting Jermell Charlo, as we know, and Jermell, he called out Bud for illegal punches to the back of the head against Spence. Now, a couple things, my little 2 cents on that. I saw it. I mean, we all saw the fight a few times for some more than others. I'm quite sure Bud fans have watched the fight many times. Now, although Bud did hit Spence in the back of the head, it was Spence's fault as well for ducking it like he was. And it wasn't, I don't think it was on purpose. We know what rabbit punches are. That wasn't what Bud was doing from when I saw in that fight. I'm just keeping a buck. He did hit him a couple times in the back of the head, but it wasn't on purpose, I don't think. I think it was more so Spence ducking his head down and trying to avoid. So I'm not putting that on Bud at all.
I put it on Bud. He a dirty motherfucker. He dirty as hell. I agree with. No, man. In all seriousness, I saw. You know, he hit Errol with a couple of rabbit punches. I think the first one happened in the second round. I think that was partially why his equilibrium was off for the rest of the fight. But that's a part of boxing. I mean, it happens. What I saw, and interestingly, I think it was Ryan that sent me this, Jay. He sent me a couple of clips where Crawford would throw his shot like he was throwing a left hook or a right hook. I can't remember which one it was. And as he hit Errol, the elbow came behind it and hit Errol again in the jaw. I saw that happen a couple of times. So I mean, would I deem him dirty? No, but I think there were a couple of things he got away with in the fight. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. He got away with it, but I mean, like I said, Spence wasn't helping anything because we talked about how Spence kept leaning. You know,
Yeah.
he didn't help his case out at all by leaning like he was. You know, so I mean,
Yeah, facts.
you know, I can't blame Bud for that when he's aiming for one thing and Spence is leaning one way and he just goes a little bit further down. Now, if it was multiple times where he just kept going behind him, that's different. You know, that's part of the fight game. I can't blame Bud for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like there was nothing that I mean, man, dirty would be like Marcus Maidana. Now he dirty. He dirty. I you know, there was a couple of things that ended up happening that Bud got away with, but it's a part of it happens. It happens. I mean, sometimes you get hit below the waist a couple of times, and it's not that the person is trying to do it on or intentionally trying to throw those punches, but it's more so that the punches they're aiming for the body and they just end up straying low for whatever reason. So I mean, it is what it is, dog. I can't. I'm not gonna fault Bud for that, and I'm not gonna say that impacted the fight, especially considering that it was truly dehydration that impacted the fight, and not necessarily. That's my opinion. I think it was dehydration. And I also think it was a pre-existing condition going into the fight is my personal opinion. It doesn't have anything to do with neurological or anything like that. It's just what I heard. But anyway, Jay, my bad. What's next on the agenda?
So now, some people might not like this, but he admitted to it. But pretty much admitted that Al was right. Remember that? Remember Terence Best videos? I want you to make sure you call in later today, because all you kept talking about the hedge fund, why he didn't go for that. But admits that he
don't want to go for the hedge. This is my Terence Best videos. It was about the hedge fund. It was about the hedge fund. Terence, I had to mess with you.
So Bud admitted to that shit. So I mean, there ain't nothing else about it. He learned a lot of game from now being with PBC and picking up on game over the last 8 months or so. You know, now the thing is, what if Bud hadn't re-signed with Top Rank, that was my main contention with Bud, and I was pissed at Bud for re-signing up with Top Rank because I knew what was going to happen. If he had gone to PBC back then, he probably would have had a lot more fame now than back then than he had before. So I mean, him admitting that Al was right and not taking that hedge fund, perfect.
So Brenda, we're not saying that he said that he agreed with Al. His statement agrees with Al. Al told him that you should bet on yourself, and don't go towards a hedge fund. Terence Crawford literally said in the hedge fund, because the hedge fund guaranteed whatever, and they had to get paid first. Terence Crawford literally said, yeah, I'm glad that I didn't go for the hedge fund. Bet on myself. So he agreed with Al. He didn't have to say, I agree with Al. Come on, man. Like, I hate when people do that, man. Like, if they don't say something word for word, like you are not intelligent enough to read between the lines and connect the dots. Come on now. He agreed with Al. It's okay. Y'all got to start hating on Al Haymon.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jay.
Whether you like it or not, Bud is a PBC fighter. He's a PBC fighter.
No, I will not calm down. I told you guys I am passionate, and I'm not no damn spin doctor. He said, listen, he agreed with Al. He said Al told him, bet on yourself. Then he said, I'm glad I didn't go for the hedge fund and I bet on myself, which means he agreed with Al. He's glad he listened to Al's advice. What you talking about? Is that, I mean, come on now. Anyway, man, Brendan got me hot, man. You're not supposed to even be doing that to me, Brenda. Go ahead, Jay. I need to cool down. The chat is right. I need to cool down. Go ahead, bro.
We only 30 some minutes in, man. Yo, you gotta tape yourself. You gotta Ease up there. Ease up on that. So with Bud now saying Bud has been a week, and Bud has changed his stance on fighting Canelo 2-3 times now.
Yeah, can I say this first? Can I say this before people, because I saw this in the comment section a lot. Oh, Bud can change his mind if he want to. Listen, nobody said anything about Terence Crawford not having the ability to change his mind. But he changes his mind and stance literally in like 7 to 10 days. First it was, I won't fight Tank, he's too little. Then it was, he's too little, but I'll fight him at 147 pounds. I won't fight Canelo last week till Monday, I'll fight him at 158 till Friday, I'll fight him at 168. Like, man, goddamn. Like,
Bud counting dollar signs, man. He counting dollar signs and a chance to be under.
It's just like he just constantly change, and I'm just like, what the like, dude, what are you gonna do? Next, he gonna be talking about some I'll fight Boots. I mean, no, that's the one. That's the one consistent. He ain't gonna fight Boots. That's the one consistent. Yeah, that's the one consistent. Nah, I ain't fight him. The young kid out of Philly that fights like me, not him. But anyway, Jay. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Nah, I just want him just to pick one, man. Just pick one, because I wish he had never said that he would fight Tank. I wish he had just stayed to the stance like he's smaller. I'm not gonna get the credit I deserve if I beat him at 147.
Facts.
Point blank, period. Plus, at 147, his biggest threat and only threat that he should be worried about if he's gonna stay at 147 would be Boots. That's the only person at 147, because that's his mandatory. I agree. And we know Bud always fights his mandatories.
I agree.
His words, not mine.
I agree.
So outside of that, I get it. If I thought he was legit straight up when he said this weight class for a reason. He's like, I can't go beyond 154. Then all of a sudden he started thinking 160. I think Bud is thinking for the fact that 168 it's a win-win for him. Definitely monetarily, he's gonna gain a gang of money for that fight at 168, and he has a shot at becoming undisputed at 3 weight classes. And that'll be some G shit. And he doesn't have to fight each champion to get those belts. He can get it all in one shot. So that'd be his chance there.
So, man, that would be some G shit if he moved up to 168. And like I said before, this is the one time where I said to myself, I don't mind Terence Crawford changing his mind, and there's really no reason to call him out for changing his mind on this one. I'm good with him. Whoever wins that fight, if he moves up to 168 pounds and fight that particular fighter, he gonna win, lose, or draw. He gonna get a ton of respect from me, and all that for me personally. All that who's on his resume, because I still stand by everything I said. I think. I don't think his resume was spectacular going into the Spence fight. He beat Spence. I think his resume is improved. If he goes up and beats Jermell or Canelo Alvarez, and let me make sure I say this, beats Jermell at 168, not 154, because people have a habit of taking what I say and then trying to take one piece of it and use that in the comment section. If he beats him at 168, 154 is a different story. But if he moves up and do that, I mean, you can never, ever question his resume again. Now, with that being said, Canelo gonna drag his ass. Drag him. And you heard it here first. He cannot beat Canelo Alvarez. You heard it here first. I think he's probably thinking back to Floyd and what Floyd was able to do against Canelo. He ain't Floyd. And I think you're only as good as your last fight. And I think right now people are super excited about Terence Crawford. I think he could beat Mel, but Styles makes fights, and I don't think he's going to beat Canelo at all, because I don't think he has the style that's going to give Canelo that many. I think Canelo. Well, let me take that back. His style can give Canelo problems, but I don't think he's going to have the pop that gives Canelo problems, and therefore Canelo is not going to be as concerned with him, because I mean he took punches from Golovkin. He took punches from Bivol. He took punches from what's the 175-pound guy that fought
Kovalov.
Yeah, Kovalov, exactly. I just don't think he has the punching power that's going to stop Canelo from being able to get his offense off either. So I take Canelo in that all day. Jermell, man, Mel gets emotional, man. So I don't know if he'll follow the game plan all the way through. So I think Terence Crawford can win that fight.
Yeah, the funny thing about it though, for me, Greg, is this: people call Spence a bum and everything else under the sun, right? But they elevated Bud after he won that fight.
Facts. Facts.
So it can't be both. You know, Bud can be the best fighter of his era and be the best at 147, and Spence can still be number 2. That's fine to say, but you discredit Bud by saying Spence wasn't nothing all the way. Now, as far as Bud versus Canelo, I want to see what Canelo looks like after this Mel fight. Because I already felt Mel was slow. I mean, not Mel, but I already felt Canelo was slowing down in this. Not saying that Bud would just watch him or he would watch Bud. I have to watch it. I want to see what Canelo looks like first and foremost. Because just like when Roy jumped up to fight John Ruiz was tailor-made for Roy. It was perfect heavyweight. He wasn't going to fight Lennox Lewis.
No, he would have got slept.
He wasn't going to do that. So, I mean, and I'm not even the big Canelo fan. I appreciate what Canelo's done now that he's in with the PBC, because I didn't like his European diet outside of Bivol. But I still didn't want to see him fight Mel. I still want to see Canelo fight Benavidez. That's what I want to see. I think that's a more even playing ground. And I think Canelo wouldn't fight Bud because it's going to be the same argument you can make if Bud were to fight Tank. He's too small. He's not going to get the full credit for beating him. So if I'm Canelo, I'm not going to fight Bud. And if I'm Bud, I'm not going to fight Tank. Unless it's strictly for the payday. If it's for legacy, no. If it's for payday, you're damn right. Bring Tank ass on up to 147. I'm coming to 168 for the payday.
Man, Canelo will fight Terence Crawford. I ain't trying to hear that shit at all. Canelo will fight Terence Crawford. Absolutely, he'll fight Terence Crawford. If he moves up to 168 pounds, Canelo will fight Terence Crawford, and you're going to see a completely different fight. Canelo is not going to be there as easy to hit. Canelo IQ is extremely high, and when he lands, he's going to land on Crawford. He's going to land. At least the Canelo that I remember. Now, if Canelo has considerably digressed, then okay, yeah. But Terence Crawford is also 35 years old. By the time he get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, he's going to be closer to 36, and I'm hoping he's fighting like he's 44. So we'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah, but see, that's why I want to see what he looks like against Mel, because there's no guarantee that he beats me. I'm favor him in that fight for sure, but it's still no guarantee. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts.
The way he looked against Ryder, the way he against Lil G in the 30th matchup they had, it wasn't the best. And Canelo even admitted to it that he wasn't his best in those. You know what I'm saying? Although he's 33, he's an old 33 in the boxing round because he has 60 plus fights. So I want to see what he looks like when they fight. When he fights Mel, I want to see how he looks like. Then I can get a better gauge how he may look against Bud.
Brenda say Boots trash. Archie, the real money fight is Crawford, David Benavidez. Yeah, man, put him in there with David Benavidez. I would like to see him against David Benavidez, David Morrell. Put him in there against Bivol. Better be
all
even
the same night
until somebody knock his ass clean off this earth. I want to see somebody knock his ass clean off the earth, bro. No, I'm just joking, man.
Archie saying Bud versus David Benavidez, man. Come on, man. Stop, man. Y'all clown.
Oh, man. Oh, God, that's funny. Does Canelo ever change strategy? Yeah, no. Canelo is highly skillful, Gina. Highly skillful. I'm a Spence fan first, after boxing fan, that is. And I have to keep it 100, bro. Bud is slick as hell, bro. I know the opponent in Ndongo wasn't great, but that counter body shot was big dose. I do believe that was a beautiful shot. But when somebody talk about slick, I think about Sweet Pea. I think about Floyd. Those are slick fighters to me. I just think Terence Crawford is skilled. I think there's a difference between being slick and skilled. That's all.
I got Bud beating the prime Lennox Lewis too.
Apparently, Bud beats everybody now. Jesus Christ,
bro. He beats Roy Jones Jr. Prime at any weight. Beats Floyd at any weight. I mean, leave it to Terrence's best videos and some of the Bud fans. Bud beats everyone. Sweet Pea, the whole nine. Ali. It don't matter. You line him up, you'll knock him down.
Hey man, what's next, bro?
Oh man. So DJ Derrick James still believes Errol Spence is still a better fighter than Bud Crawford.
Yeah, so this is where either you have to be in a situation where you got to say whatever it is to support the fighter or whoever it is, the person that you are tied to, or it's a case of delusion, because there's no way looking at that fight that you can believe that your fighter is better. And the reason why I'm saying this is I'm an Errol Spence fan. Everybody knows I'm an Errol Spence fan. I like Errol. I think Errol is highly skilled, and I think there was something wrong with Errol going into that fight. And again, two things can be true. Terence Crawford can be highly skilled and deserve to win that fight, and no version of Errol Spence was going to beat him. And Errol could have had something going on with him that day. Errol was making so many mistakes in that fight after I went back and looked at the fight again that I can't in good conscience say that Errol Spence is a better fighter than Terence Crawford. No matter how I try to spin it in my mind, no matter what I try to do, no matter what aspect of the fight I look at, I can't get myself there. Now, is it possible that Spence can come back and win the fight and improve? Absolutely. That's not what I'm saying. It's possible. I don't think it's probable right now, but it's possible. But based off of what you saw in that fight, I don't know how you can come out of that situation saying, yep, Spence is still better. What?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, nah. He said he's supposed to say that, because that's his fighter. Now, Tommy C saying, invite Crawford on your show and talk that shit to him, big boy. Terence Crawford, if this gets to you, come on our show.
What do you think? What the fuck you think Terence Crawford's gonna beat us up through the goddamn internet? He's gonna beat us up through the screen? What are you talking about? Anyway, man.
I mean, exactly what he gonna do? Punch us through the screen? Like, he can come on the show all he wants. I would love for him to come on the show so he can actually answer some of these damn questions. So we can play all the clips that he said, and so he can answer those for us.
Now here's what I would expect from Terence Crawford.
Understand that,
Here's what I would expect from Terence Crawford if he were to come on the show. Do you remember at the press conference where the dude was talking to Terence Crawford and he kept calling him, "You a bitch, nigga, you a bitch." I expect plenty of bitches and niggas from Terence Crawford if he were to come on the show, directed towards both of us. Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing.
If you feel that, don't get off the podcast if you feel that way.
But in all seriousness, so I want to put this out there. So there's somebody who is a part of Terence Crawford's, let's call him, group that I communicate with and have been communicating with this person for probably like 3.5 months. I don't think Terence Crawford, I think if Terence Crawford saw us in person, I think Terence Crawford would walk up to us and just basically say, "Hey man, why y'all say that stuff in y'all video?" And I actually think we have a discussion just based off the interaction that I have with somebody who is around Crawford sometimes, seriously, and it's kind of giving me some insight to how Crawford kind of thinks, So I don't think it would like really be like that, unless it was for some kind of entertainment value or something like that. I think it would be a nice civil conversation, and then I would explain to him why I feel the way that I feel, and Jason would explain the same, and I think he'll explain back to us. We won't understand it, dismiss it, and then go down the same path we've always gone, right?
And the thing about it is, ain't nothing personal this ain't nothing personal for us on with Bud. We never talk about anyone's personal life. We talk about strictly his boxing aspect. So
and you would think we talk about him like a dirty dog.
Bro, you think we talking about his family and the whole nine. None of that. Not once. I even said on one time back, we are like, for all accounts, what I've seen about him and other fighters, he's a stand-up dude with his family and everything. I wish him nothing but the best.
Facts.
So, I mean, it's nothing personal with that. So People thinking that y'all won't have this boxer on. Why wouldn't we? They can come on. I mean, we're not asking him. We're not that type of channel. But if he comes on, cool. We're right with him.
Warren Lounge said, "Sounds personal." What sounds personal about it? What is personal about it? You talk about a fighter's resume. You talk about a fighter's decisions that they make relative to boxing. What's personal about that? I don't understand it. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. But anyway.
And someone said, "Oh, we need to apologize." What am I apologize for? I picked Spence, who was the underdog in the fight, who was picked.
Who said we need to apologize?
Someone said that earlier on that. I'm like, why would I apologize? No, I would say this, but yeah, I picked Spence. You beat him. You dominated him. I was wrong on that.
Man, I wish I would apologize to Terence Crawford for anything I said on our channel about Terence Crawford, the boxer. If I said something about Terence Crawford, the man, then yeah, I owe him an apology. I've never said anything about Terence Crawford, the man. I talk about Terence Crawford, the boxer. So no, there will never be an apology from me.
It would never be an apology because we don't talk about Bud, the personal in his personal life, anything like that. Although a lot of y'all Bud fans were going down the line talking about Spence's personal life on several occasions. But we didn't take the bait and we avoided that. We don't talk about anyone's personal life, Spence or anyone else. We wish all those guys the best healthy outside the boxing ring.
Yeah, the closest thing we've talked about personal life is when Adrian Broner showed up on that show. That's the only thing, and that was it.
And that's because we cared about. I hated seeing Broner in that aspect, in that way.
Facts. You never heard us going there. Yeah. You don't hear us talking about fighters getting arrested and all that other stuff. So
not at all. I get that y'all probably have seen a lot of channels that go in about the personal aspect. This ain't the channel that does that. Well, are we Spence fans? Yeah. Did we pick Spence to beat Crawford? Yeah. We're guilty as hell of that. But as far as anything personal, never.
Yeah, you would think based off of the comments in some of the videos that we said that Errol Spence was gonna wash him. Like, we literally have a breakdown video, and the breakdown video says at the end he's gonna have to go through a lot to actually do it, but we have Spence by late rounds decision or stoppage. That's what we said. And so that means a close fight, but yet still somehow I don't know. It's all crazy. Any other topics that we currently have, Jay, that we need to discuss? I feel like there might be one or two more.
Yeah, one more is the fact that we got a little bit over a week to see if there's going to be a rematch this year in December. Well, it has to be December based on the contract, supposedly, for Errol Spence to invoke his rematch clause with Bud Crawford. Do you think it's going to happen?
According to Steven Espinosa, it's going to happen, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know if Spence has talked to his team or not. It's going to be a team decision on whether or not they go for the rematch. Yeah, I want to see Spence get his opportunity. I want to see him get a rematch, but I want the rematch to be maybe somewhere. I know he can't get it any later than, maybe Q1 of 2024. So that's what he should do. And in my opinion, if he's going to invoke the rematch clause, as long as, they make sure that he's checked out and good to actually fight, I'm good with it. But he needs to, like, literally, this fight has been, 3 weeks ago or something like that? Like, Spence literally needs to, once September starts, he needs to be back in the lab, and he needs to have a pre-camp before his camp. Just like Terence Crawford had a pre-camp before the camp to actually face Spence. Spence needs a pre-camp where all they're doing is literally working on fine-tuning his skills. And hopefully they could push it back into Q1 of 2024 and just give him 3 or 4 months of just time to just refine what he does, refine his skills, and give him the best opportunity to actually win the fight at 154. Because if he doesn't do that, there's no reason for the rematch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, Jason Williams. Yeah, in this sense, Spence does need to get like Bud and have a pre-camp, because that's what Bud talked about. Bud talked about how seriously he took this fight. He had a pre-camp. He studied the hell out of Spence, him and his team. So they took this. He took this real serious. So yeah, a pre-camp can benefit Spence. You know, now will it change the outcome? The way the first fight went, I don't think it does. I think it's more competitive. So that's the difference. And some things some people don't understand in context. We're saying that if Spence comes back, has a pre-camp, comes back fully, no problem, I think it can be a more competitive fight. Does he win? I don't think he wins. Because for one, Bud can still make different adjustments from what Spence did the first time and the second time. Bud didn't have to do anything different in this last fight. Who am I picking? Who do I want to win? I want Spence to win. I still want Spence to win, but if I'm a bet man, I'm not betting on Spence to beat Bud the second time.
Fight with you.
I ain't bet. First off, I ain't bet on Spence to win this time because it was such a damn close fight. I'm like, nah.
Facts.
And Spence was the underdog, so nah. So it's simple put, it's just the fact that Spence, some of the things that we do know that happened with a better camp, I think it'd be a more competitive fight. It is boxing, anything can happen, but logically, I can't pick Spence to beat Bud in the rematch.
No,
after what happened this time, I can't.
Yeah, it'll be picking against what logic would tell you.
Yeah, it's just can't. If I was picking Spence in a rematch, it'll be strictly because of my heart. That'd be the only reason I'd be picking from my heart and not my mind, not using what I saw in the first fight. So,
speaking from your heart. God, man, come on. Heart. All right, man. So let me go ahead and let's open up the phone lines, my guy. Let's see here.
Jason Williams will never call in, though. He said he's gonna call in. He ain't calling in yet.
My guy, Jason Williams. All right, so
they talk about snack and everything.
Phone lines are now open. And we got our first call. You already know this. This is FSU Walt calling in to celebrate Florida State and all that is the Angry Man Podcast. FSU Walt, what's going on with you, bruh?
Y'all know I got to be first, man.
I feel you.
I'm on that Florida State thing. We got to be first.
Facts.
Oh, Lord. Well, what you want, Walt, man? Get it off your chest, young man.
Yo, I just got a couple quick ones. I agree with y'all about the Oscar De La Hoya being shiesty. But Canelo was loving Oscar De La Hoya until Oscar De La Hoya was saying, hey, why don't you fight Ward? Why don't you fight Boo Boo? Then all of a sudden, him and his manager, he was nobody no more.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that one. That's why I made the comment about the whole Canelo Alvarez and wanting to get that huge contract from DAZN, but not necessarily wanting to fight the fighters that DAZN wanted him to fight. I think Oscar sided with DAZN and tried to get him to make some of these bigger fights, and that's when the fallout started.
All right. But another thing, too, the best fight in boxing for Crawford is Boots. And here's the reason why I'm telling you is because of the styles. He's the only guy Crawford could fight who's a little bigger than him, maybe a little faster than him, hits harder than him, and does a lot of the same things. Everybody else Crawford fights around them weight classes, he's going to win them fights. And I picked Errol going into that fight. But every time I've gone back and watched a lot of both of their fights, and Errol's not going to be able to beat this man because the way Errol fights, he overextends. Unless he changes up his whole style. Even when he fights on the back foot, he's tailor-made for this man. It's like, I think that Errol would lose to Boots. Now looking at their fights. And the thing that kills me the most that everybody keeps talking about Boots is that what has he done? What did Ali do before he got the Sonny Liston fight? I'm 60 years old. They were saying that, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Ali gave all them young dudes chances. Floyd gave young dudes chances. People don't realize Floyd was like 2 months before his 37th-year-old birthday when he fought Canelo Alvarez.
Yep.
So we gonna go 10 years from now saying Boots don't deserve it because he ain't. Come on now. But y'all messed me up early when y'all was talking about Shakur and Frank Martin. I'm telling y'all, what did y'all keep saying? What has Shakur done? The only dude to me at 135 that could beat Shakur is Tank because of that power. Frank Martin does a lot of things that Errol does. He overextends. He fights almost the same way, but with a little higher guard. You got Shakur's. You even heard Terence say Shakur's more skilled than him. Shakur's different, y'all. Y'all. I mean, he's another dude that's gonna be hard to get his flowers because nobody want to fight him.
No, FSU
If Frank takes that fight, then he earns a gold medal to me.
No. I think you misunderstanding what we're saying in regards to him. All we're saying is that it gives him the opportunity to establish himself at 135 pounds. We've both said that we believe that Shakur Stevenson is highly skilled, and it puts pressure on basically Tank to go ahead and take him on because he would have beaten the name at 135 pounds. But I agree with you. We've both said that Tank is the one that can beat him because they're both complete fighters. The only difference is Tank has power.
When you hear Tank talk about who's his number one contender at 135, he always mentions Shakur. He doesn't mention them other cats. Because, but y'all said another thing, too, earlier that made me, and my girl would say it made her laugh, that Devin Haney fighting Terence Crawford. Devin Haney's bigger than Terence Crawford. He's almost boot size. They could come in that fight with their hands down because Devin won't be able to hit him with nothing but a napkin. It's like that's what Devin's in a predicament. He's in a different thing now because even in the Regis fight, in no time in that fight can he stand there and trade with Regis. His whole career from now on is going to be against most fighters. It's going to be on the back foot and moving because he's not going to be able to hurt any of these bigger dudes his size.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to move. I mean, unless he's in a situation where being at that weight class depleted him of his power. But it's not,
bro. Come on, man. We've seen Tim Bradley. He's
no. Yeah, I was just about to say.
You don't have power. You don't have power.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I don't believe that is the case, and that when he moves up, even if being at 35 affected his power a little bit, he's not gonna move up and be like a puncher.
Go back and watch the Lomachenko fight. I think it's in like the 5th or 6th round where Devin's totally flat-footed, throws shoulder and everything in a Loma. And Loma just goes, okay, and then keeps coming.
I hear you.
I don't see it, man. But I'm going to end it on that, man, and FSU all day, every day. Greg, I'm going to send you a box of Kleenex. So, y'all have a good day.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
He gonna send you about some Kleenex, Greg?
I think he meant you. He gonna send you some Kleenex.
He said you though.
Yeah, it don't matter what he said. He already know what we gonna do. But anyway, phone lines back open. We actually that's just. I mean, we said basically the same thing. And by the way, we got 206 people in the building. We got 95 likes. If we get the opportunity, guys, please hit that like button because it helps people find the content. And also become a subscriber if you're new to the channel. 206 is in the building. What's going on with you?
What's good, Jason and Greg? It's your boy Band Up calling from the 206 Seattle.
Band Up, what's going on with you?
Band Up, man.
What's up with you, man? I got some cooking to do a little bit. I've been doing my homework, man.
All right, what's happening?
All right, hold on. Let me pause this so I can get so I know background. Now, Jordan, get your hand down just for real quick. All right, so Greg.
Yeah.
You said in one of your videos that Terence Crawford doesn't move the same way. Do you still believe that?
Move. When you say laterally, you talking about lateral movement?
Yeah, well, like as quick as he was because he was getting older is what I think you were referring to. He doesn't move has a quicker movement reaction.
Yeah, his lateral movement, not his reaction. I'm talking about he doesn't move around the ring as much as he did in when he was like at 35 and 40. But yeah, and early at 47. But go ahead.
I'm listening.
Yeah. I'm saying lateral movement wise, he's not the same.
All right. I got it. And then you said you also said, and I think it's probably the same. You said EJ is the most defensively sound fighter through an offensive lens. Do you believe that still?
Do I believe that DJ? You talking about EJ? Errol Spence?
Yeah, Errol Spence is more defensively that sound through an offensive lens.
So if I don't remember using that term, but I'm assuming what I meant was So for a offensive fighter, he's the most defensively sound fighter I've seen in the sport right now.
Okay. And, you know, I'm saying after the Crawford fight, do you still believe these things? No, I'm not trying to set you up or anything. The only reason I'm asking because I've been going back and forth with a couple people, and they trying to and people are trying to seem like they're like because they say Errol didn't look the same in this fight, and neither did Terence. Terence actually looked better. That's what they're trying to say. I'm trying to make people understand that once you are getting hit by a fighter that fights on the inside, like they try to say that Errol Spence had, these advantages that people said that Errol Spence had, right? Yeah. Once you have those advantages taken away from you, you know what I mean? Once you have Terence doing the better footwork, doing the better pin downs, doing the better frames, these are some of the things that everybody said that Errol Spence had. Once they see Terence Crawford doing these things, it makes your fighter look different. I don't think Errol Spence looked any different from his other fights, besides the fact that he started off way faster than he normally does. He tried to start off faster than Crawford, and I don't think that worked for him. I don't think that he looked drained. I don't think that he looked anything. I think the fact that Crawford's skill set is the reason why he looked that made him look the way he looked.
Yeah, so I think that's partially the truth, right? When I think about when I first walked into the fight, and this is my impression of everything. So I'm just going to bring it to you through my lens. When I walked into the fight, we did a fight party. I didn't see the entire first round. I walked in probably like around with like 45 seconds or so left in the first round. And I didn't see Errol before the fight. I didn't see Errol's walkout, so I didn't see the interview. I didn't see any of that. Errol they weren't even punching. And I said, man, Errol looks off balance. Like it was his movement. And he hadn't even been hit. And it's just the movement looked off. This was the first round. Nobody's giving me anything. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. I had to step away for a while. So that's why I'm telling you, in my opinion, that wasn't the same Errol. Now, when you talk about inside, I don't think Terence Crawford was doing the better frames, doing the better pins. I don't think so. I think the difference in that fight, once Errol got on the inside, is that he couldn't move him. He couldn't move him. I think everybody thought Errol would be able to move him once he got on the inside. He couldn't. And I knew once he got on the inside and couldn't move him, the fight was over. I knew it at that minute the fight was over because that was his advantage, being the stronger guy inside, not necessarily because he's going to do a better pin or a frame. It was more so that strength-wise, he didn't have the strength to move him back. Now, this is one of the strongest welterweights. You had Danny Garcia talking about how strong he was. You had Mikey Garcia talking about how strong he was. Lamont Peterson talking about how strong he was. But Errol, for whatever reason, couldn't push Bud back at all. So either he was dehydrated or something else, but something was going on there. Because literally, he looked like he was pushing against a wall versus Terence Crawford.
And why is it never brought up? Everybody that dehydration thing that everybody want to say could be the issue. Wasn't everybody talking about how Terence Crawford had to get on the scale twice? So shouldn't Terence Crawford be on the more dehydrated fighter? Why is nobody trying to bring that up? How my man had to get on the scale twice. You know what I mean? And then, but everybody want to give EJ this dehydration clause. I don't understand that.
Because one fighter looked the same and the other one didn't.
I don't know, man. It's some stuff, man. It's some stuff. But I'm gonna keep going. I just have those few questions for you, man. I don't want to hold you guys up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep tapping in and keep saluting the AM podcast. One of the best to do it.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for tapping in with us, man. And you're always welcome, bro. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, later. That was our guy Band Up, man. He supports all day. All right.
Being a Bud fan.
Yeah, why being a Bud fan? I don't know why people think that the Bud fans be hitting us up too. This is a new area code here. 708, you in the building with the Angry Man Podcast. What's going on with you, fam?
Yeah, what's going on with you guys, man? This is Warren. I've been chatting with you guys in the comment. So let me explain myself to you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
And just, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the interesting thing that we're talking about, boots. and Terence Crawford fighting. And I don't get it. I mean, first it was the resume. His resume wasn't good enough. Then when he demolishes Errol, you think that Bruce gonna get in there and deal with. He's the only chance that we have of beating Terence Crawford. You can't. Bruce don't have anything that Terence Crawford can't deal with. First of all, you guys are underestimating Terence Crawford's strength. You're looking at the size and you're basing all your assumptions on the size. This man is deadlifting over 400 pounds. The man has been in championship fights for over 18 years. He's been in more quality fights and versatile fights than Boots. I don't give Boots a chance. Now, I think that Boots do deserve a chance to fight for a championship, but putting him in there with Terence Crawford is only going to set him back. I promise you that. With that, that's all I got to say. Go ahead, Bumble.
No, the only thing I'm going to say is to this. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
So, quick thing, what I want to say, Warren, we're not saying Boots is going to beat Bud. We're saying at 147, that's the best fight for Bud because there's no one else at 147. That's what we're saying, and we've already said we will pick Bud to beat Boots.
Right. Well, so so with that being said, man, I stand corrected if I attach that label to you guys. That's not. I think that the most logical path. I think that Bud has done everything he could to prove to the world that he's pound for pound the best fighter right now on the planet. Right now, I'm not talking about doing Mayweather. I'm just talking about this in this particular area. He has done so by beating the one that a lot of people, including yourself, have picked to beat Terence Crawford or gave. So with that being said, I think he has a right to want to choose who he picks to fight because he defied all odds. He proved everybody wrong, that he wasn't, his resume was garbage, that he didn't fought nobody. And I said earlier, I said not earlier, but I said that Errol Spence's chance of beating Bud was when he first got into 147. But he allowed him to get acclimated to 147. He don't take tune-up fights. He don't, the man haven't fought in 15 months, and he fights one way. So you got to train Errol to fight off his back foot. Derrick James has often said that he don't care about Bud switching. He don't care that Bud this, that, and the other. And like you said, I think Derrick James is in denial, point blank. Now, I think the best fight for Terence Crawford is the Charlo. And I think that he should have that right to be able to do that. But everybody wants saying they ducking Boots because he want to go up to 154. How is he ducking Boots? Boots had an opportunity when he was in the WBO, but he decided to go to the IBF because he felt that Errol was an easier target. I'm through with that, you guys. Thank y'all for your time and your patience with me.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for your call. Yeah, Carla has some cogent points. I always hate that WBO and IBF route. That doesn't matter to me. Today, he's the IBF mandatory. So either way it goes, he ended up at the same place, which was Terence Crawford's mandatory. So I don't really care about that. If Boots is not ready for him, he's not ready for him. But that's not we don't make the rules or we don't decide who goes. It's like managers, right? Like you shouldn't. Fans who want to manage, no. You don't deserve the shot. He shouldn't actually be in the ring with him now. He's not ready. Who's to say that he's not ready? He's a professional fighter, and I'm not saying that Terence Crawford can't deal with everything that Jermall Ennis brings to the ring. We right now we would pick Terence Crawford just because of the experience, but Jermall Ennis brings, and this stylistically, that will be a very interesting matchup because Boots does what Crawford does. period. And he's bigger. So, yeah, it would be an interesting fight. I don't want to hear anybody give any explanation as for why Terence Crawford should not at least consider fighting Jermall Ennis if he stays at 147. Now, if he moves to 154, that's not ducking Jermall Ennis. We've never said that. If he moves to 154 and fights Errol Spence in a rematch and then he fights whoever, then that's cool. I don't want to see Jermell Charlo at 154 because I think Mel's going to have to melt himself back down from 168, and that makes him, in my opinion, more of an easy target for Terence Crawford. But Terence Crawford, that might not even matter at this point because Terence Crawford is saying that he's willing to move up to 168 pounds and he's daring to be great. So what he wants to do is be great, and I can't argue that. Move up to 168, fight Canelo if Canelo wins, and get knocked out. All right. What's next, Jay? Or we actually need people to call in. We got the we got the phone lines open. So for whoever wants to call in, we still open. I'm just checking out what's going on in the comment section. 54 is male's division. No, 68 is male division now. What does two clowns in a rainbow mean?
I mean, someone's emotional damage for that person who posted it.
Oh, okay.
That's what that means.
I don't know what the rainbow mean.
That's sad. That is sad. But yeah, man, it's just crazy. I want to know if these Bud fans are going to give Errol props since Boots all of a sudden gets elevated. I mean, not Boots, but Bud gets elevated for beating Spence. All of a sudden, he's the best thing sliced bread now. Since sliced bread, where was Errol ranked? You know, was he a decent fighter? Was he a good fighter despite how Bud dominated him? I mean, because Bud got elevated because of Spence, this fight here.
No, they gonna tell you, man, we always knew Bud was this.
Exactly.
210, you're on the line with the Angry Man podcast, and I think this is my lender for life, but let me make sure.
You know what? For the first time, I feel like you actually need me today. You know, phone's a little slow, so I'm like, all right, maybe I can cook a little bit. How's it going, guys?
It's going well. What's going on your end, Jerry?
It's Jerry Soriano, your lender for life. Hey, Jason, did you listen to the whole Joe Rogan interview with Crawford?
I don't listen to part of it because I didn't have it was on it wasn't on YouTube.
It was on Spotify.
Yeah, I didn't have Spotify.
But listen, if you listen to the whole interview, you'll get better clarification. Crawford is not going back and forth, and he's not all over the place. He literally explains that, you know, he was thinking one way. In the last couple of days, something came over him, and he's like, well, he actually said, I don't know if God's been talking to me, but it's been heavy on my mind, thinking, you know, this may be my calling. This may be how I end my career, and how better way to do it. And he was just like, you know, if you're looking at 168, and if you're looking at it, you know, Canelo's not a big guy. He's 5'8". He's like, I got longer arms. Yeah, he has more muscles. He weighs more, but it's something. He's like, I believe in my skills, and I believe I can do it. And with Charlo, the problem with Charlo, and I think Crawford was starting to hear some whispers that I don't think Charlo was going to come down to 154. He was kind of skating back and forth, going,
"Hey, I agree. I agree.
If we're still boxing, I don't know at what weight class. I mean, Charlo's been kind of skating back and forth, and I think Crawford is just thinking, "Why put all my eggs in one basket? I just need to fight the winner. It is what it is, and just go from there, right?" So he really clarified, and he knew that he had recently been saying that, no, there's weight classes for a reason. But anyway, hey, guys, listen. As many reasons why YouTube, and the crazy thing is, we were saying that, you know, Spence is this media-created fighter, and my goodness, this man has not given one excuse. And I think I can come up with 20 different theories on YouTube without the man giving one. So I give him the benefit of the doubt, because if he has an excuse, he's never going to say it. But when I look at Spence and I've looked at that fight over and over again. There's no way that you can blame what happened on that on dehydration, because dehydration normally rears its ugly head as the fight goes on. What happened in that fight was a technical issue, right? Because it wasn't energy. Spence came out the blocks faster than he's ever come out before. But one thing, and I think Greg might have touched on this, but we really haven't harped on it, is that, do you know Crawford was the third southpaw that Spence has ever faced in 30 fights? Was y'all aware of that?
Yes.
That is crazy. So when you're looking at him being off balance, when you're looking at him, and I was looking at him, and I always talked about Crawford being great at punch placement. And I think Greg and I were going back and forth because you used to always say that, you know, Crawford likes to loop his punches and so on and so forth. When the Joe Rogan, because I love Joe Rogan, he's a really enthusiast of combat sports, and he was like, man, I love the way you were punching, like in tight quarters, you were able to punch precisely. And Crawford said that I worked on getting my punches tight and punching straight, because he said in the past I used to get too comfortable and loop and get caught. So he was punching very precisely. But if you looked at Spence couldn't get his offense going because he was ineffective against a southpaw. But I will tell you this, that YouTube has made has rebounded, because it was like a morgue at first, you know. Spence is off. He got blown up. No, I'm telling you, it's like, in a way, I'm like, you know what? I'm good with this. I'm good with this. All right, let's ride the dehydration. Let's ride with the loaded gloves, the PEDs, the Conte, the snacks, or whatever you want to do, right? Or the worst thing I want is, I just hope that Spence is really healthy. That's like the only excuse that I hope is not true. But I'm kind of getting excited if there is going to be a rematch.
Okay.
The only thing that does not excite me about the rematch is that I don't think Spence can rebound from another blowout. But if YouTube keeps the narratives going, I think the momentum for seeing a rematch is starting to build. And the only reason we wouldn't see a rematch is one of two things. Either Team Spence goes, dude, we got to take time. No, we're not putting you back in. And if you heard Espinoza talking, he was kind of concerned. And he didn't say it directly, but he was like, the only reason it wouldn't happen is if Team Spence thinks we should put it off. But I think the other concern is, can it generate money? But I think the YouTube machine has piqued interest again. Now people are like, you know what? Crawford's going to have to do it again. He's going to have to prove himself. So I think momentum is building to where there's good, you know, it will sell, and there will be enough pay-per-view buys for Espinoza and Showtime and PBC to feel they can pay these guys big money to make it work. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's my take. I think that the rematch is building momentum again.
Yeah.
Are we in agreement on that?
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. And Terence Crawford and Errol
I'm
Spence
serious.
are welcome
At
as well.
first I was like, this is getting annoying, but I'm like, you know what? It's actually working, because now people are getting intrigued again that Spence is going to come back. And you know what? I was looking at the history of boxing, and there have been champions that have been throttled and they come back.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's been thoroughly throttled, like round by round. Have they been knocked out? They've been stopped. But I think that a case can be made for a rematch. All right, so that's enough of that. I wanted to talk to you guys about the double standard that I feel, and you guys do a pretty good job. But I think there is a total double standard when you talk about some PBC fighters and everyone else in boxing. Canelo, Crawford, Shakur, Haney. But when you talk about Tank Davis, what is Tank Davis doing, guys? Honestly, like, that guy gets the pass of all passes. No one ever says, why isn't Tank fighting the number one contender? Why isn't Tank fighting Shakur? Why isn't Tank fighting Haney? Why isn't Tank fighting I'm forgetting the guys, the Frank Martin. I mean, what? And I get the business plan for Tank, but no one talks about who this guy faces, and everything they talk about is money. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because all of a sudden we're back on this. Terence Crawford needs to fight Boots. Why is everybody talking about his resume? Why is it? Tank Davis gets away from not talking about fighting any opponents because of resume, because he can't put butts in the seats, because of splits, all of the same issues that you guys have a problem with when it comes to everyone else, Canelo included, but Tank Davis gets a pass. Can you guys explain why Tank Davis gets a pass? Because I have one opponent that I think will blow the internet up and will do 1.5 million buys. Maybe 2 million buys. Mayweather brought this up and it just kind of slid under the radar. It's the last point I'm going to make, and I'm going to hang up and listen. Mayweather said, I want Tank Davis and Teofimo Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
That has always been, to me, the best fight when it comes to matchups. Forget Shakur, because I think Tank Davis gets outboxed. Devin Haney may be able to run around. I don't know. That to me, I'm not totally sold on that fight. But Teofimo and Tank Davis at a catch weight of 138 is gold. Teofimo has this personal problem with Tank and Mayweather, because when he had full steam ahead, when he was doing that whole thing with Kambosos, he feels that Mayweather purposely derailed his momentum. And if you see Tank Davis when he was doing his backflips and doing all of that, Tank Davis took his game to another level when Teofimo was peaking. It's almost like Mayweather said, dude, we got to knock this guy off his pedestal. So I'm going to hang up and listen. But Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis, at 138, you got the Latino, you got the African-American, and you got two of the best sellers. Well, for sure Teofimo is going to be able to sell the fight, and he's going to be able to just talk trash better than Tank Davis can ever. Any of his oppositions will be able to. But what do y'all guys think about that? Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis at 138. I'm going to hang up and listen. Happy Sunday, friends.
All right, man. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for calling. I like that fight. I definitely like the Gervonta Davis versus Teofimo Lopez. I like Gervonta against anybody. Let me answer the line here real quick. Hey, give me 1 second, caller 531. I personally like that fight. I don't think Tank necessarily gets a pass, to be quite honest with you. I've heard a lot of people say that they have no interest in seeing him fight Isaac Cruz again. And I think Tank understands that people don't really want to see him in those types of fights anymore. We want to see him in a bigger fight. So I think he's going to start moving towards that. I think he's made the comments that he wants to move towards that. So, yeah, if he doesn't move towards that from now to first half of 2024, then you need to start calling him out. But right now, I mean, let's not act like Gervonta Davis has been around as long as Canelo Alvarez. That's two totally different beasts. All right, 531, you in the building. What's going on with you?
Hey, how you guys doing today? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, yeah. I like to know. I enjoy watching you guys' show and everything, but I strongly agree. Like, you guys got something against Crawford, man. Just give him his flowers.
What? What do we have against Crawford? We've given him his flowers.
What? It's three things. Just like the guy just ran past you guys. He said the loaded gloves, dehydration, and then the PED. Y'all put that stuff on that man. Get that man his flowers, man.
We have never said anything about PEDs or him having loaded gloves.
Loaded gloves. Okay, what's the excuse about the dehydration? Why are y'all even bringing that up? Because if Errol wasn't ready, he shouldn't have took the fight. And like Bomac said, he shouldn't have never signed the contract.
You gonna forego $25 million if you're not ready for something?
Well, it ain't me. I ain't been in those type of situations, sir. But I would tell you something. If you were, somebody will make up an excuse for it, though. Well, we need excuses. He lost the fight.
He's not making up an excuse.
He's not, but not you guys, but people are.
Hey, I'm giving you guys
no matter what.
But hold on. This is where I have an issue though.
And then Jason, you know you don't like Crawford.
Man, I love Terence Crawford. I love Terence Crawford. But this
I'm talking about Jason.
Jason. No, Jason don't like nobody though, so that don't really matter. But Jason don't even like me. Jason don't like me.
Hey, I can't stand Greg ass. But I don't have a problem with Terence Crawford. I want to see him tested against what I felt was better to test, which was Spence. I didn't like some of the people he fought on his resume at 147 prior to Spence. He beat Spence. I gave him all the fight. I said he's pound for pound number one, better than Nui. I was like, I'll be pissed if they put a Nui above Bud. So I can give Bud his flowers. Now his next step, I don't know who Bud's gonna fight. I don't want to see Bud fight Tank at 147. I think Bud won't get any credit for fighting Tank at 147, regardless if they have a grudge match.
Money fight. It's a money fight. If it happens, it's gonna be a money fight.
That's the only reason for it. Yeah, but I'm talking about for him that can possibly more of a challenge for him. Boots would be the person at 147 because I feel that's better suited at 147, and I'm still picking Bud to beat Boots.
Right, I heard that. Let me ask y'all one more question, and I'm gonna get out of here. Now, how do you feel about Boots? When they was trying to give Tank not Tank, but Bud, they were trying to say the side of the street thing. Errol Spence was trying to spin him and say he gonna do this side of the street thing and then this, and then it finally happened and he beat his ass. So now how y'all feel about that? And then see what's the name Bud ain't gonna fight Boots. Ain't no money in that. He gotta earn his turn. The young man gotta earn his turn. Just you know what I'm saying? Because now Bud can start treating these people the way they treated him.
What do you mean?
And I see a little grin and your little smirk, but that's just the way it goes. Bud controlling this stuff now.
Bud ain't controlling.
I'm gone. I appreciate y'all.
All right, man.
All right. So if Boots didn't earn it, what did David Avenesian earn to fight Bud?
This is what's interesting. You calling from an unknown number, so I don't know who this is, but you're on the Angry Man podcast. Hello? Yeah, I know what's going on there. Here's my thing, man. So they say everybody's making an excuse for Errol, his fans, but we've heard Robert Garcia, Roy Jones, we've heard a plethora of different people say that Errol didn't look right. Someone right with Errol. Danny Garcia, someone right with Errol. You know what I mean? So like, it's not just Errol Spence fans that's saying this. There's people that picked Terence Crawford to win that said, hell, even Bomac said, well, man, I thought he was gonna be more than that, more of a challenge than that. Something wasn't right there, and that's what people that didn't look like the same Spence. I still think Spence would have lost because of the technical issues. Yeah. I still think he would have lost, but I don't think it would have been as one-sided as it was. That's my point.
Exactly. Say that one more time, Greg. You think what now?
I think that Terence Crawford still wins because of the technical issues that Errol Spence displayed in the fight, but I just think that it would have been closer than what it was.
Oh, wow. Easy band. So David Avenesian beat Shane Moses, so that got David Avenesian in the fight with Bud. Tell me this. Does Bud fight his mandatories?
These guys nuts, man.
Bruh,
and the whole Jerron Ennis needs to earn his turn. What do you mean? He's his mandatory. He's his mandatory. David Avenesian had to earn his chance. Mean Machine need to earn his chance. Come on, man. Stop with that, man.
David Avenesian beat Shane Moses like Easy Band said.
404, you in the building. What's going on with you?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I just had one question for y'all boys.
Yep.
How y'all feel about this? Keith Thurman and Boots fight, and whoever wins that fight, then Crawford fight him.
No, I want Jerron Ennis, and I want him now. He the IBF mandatory. Why he need to fight somebody else to fight Terence Crawford? He already the mandatory.
True, but what fighter have Boots fought that really truly tested him?
Fight.
It don't matter who fought him to test him. He fought the fighters. He fought the fighters that he needed to fight to become his mandatory.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So that's all I want to see. Because like Brendan McDonough always told me, and Jason Williams always told me, Terence Crawford always defend against his mandatories. Now, if he moving up to 154 pounds, you don't need to fight Boots. Just move up to 154. We're not saying you need to stay around and fight Jerron Ennis. That's not what we're saying. Yeah, if you're moving up to 154, move up to 154. But don't tell me that you will stick around for 147 to fight Tank, but you won't stick around to fight your mandatory. And then people making the excuse of, oh, well, you know what I'm saying? He could fight. Well, it's big money fight. It's a big money fight. But those same people were saying that Terence Crawford said he could no longer make 147. So that's why he's moving up to 154. I literally saw somebody say that in the comment section. Oh, he's not going to fight Boots, but because he's moving up to 154 because he already said he struggled to make 147. But then in the comment section talking trash to us because we said we called him out for wanting to fight Gervonta Davis, saying Terence Crawford get to do what he want to do because he blah blah blah. What's your argument?
I just think at this point he looking for the big money fights, and that'll be a good look to fight Tank or fight Canelo.
Yeah, I don't. You know, it's interesting. We're gonna drop the Gary Russell Jr. interview tomorrow, and he gave his thoughts on Gervonta Davis versus Terence Crawford. I thought his response was interesting. You guys will get an opportunity to see it tomorrow, so check it out. Very, very interesting response.
Okay.
I really don't want to see Terence Crawford fight Gervonta Davis. He said that according to Jerry, God's been speaking to him. He feels in his heart that the way that he should end his career is to move up to 168 and get knocked out by Canelo Alvarez. And I want him to follow his dreams.
Mm-hmm. Now get this. Now, he said that him moving up to 168 is legendary shit.
It is.
But going to 168 is legendary shit. And if he mess around and win that, that's even crazy. He gets all the respect in the world just for even considering to move up to 168.
Yeah.
And if he does it, he gets all the props in the world. That's some shit you've never seen before.
Yep, he gets a lot of props.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I appreciate the call, fellas.
All right, appreciate you, man. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir.
All right, later. Phone lines back open.
I don't understand it, Greg. I do not
What's
understand it. We just said it'll be some legendary shit if he goes up. That's not good enough. Oh, Boots hasn't done enough, but David hasn't had. Oh, now Crawford can do what he wants to do. I'm just like, which one is it? Boots is a mandatory.
Yeah, I feel you. Hey, Jay, give me 1 second, man. You can hold it down for right now. Yeah. I got to use the restroom. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be right back.
You got to turn the phone lines off though, because I can't answer. But yeah, I mean, we've never said any excuses for Spence saying that blood was on PEDs. Loaded gloves, anything like that. We cracked jokes about the gloves against David Avila, but we also said that wouldn't have made a difference in that fight at all. So it's just, it don't matter to us. Frank Duckets. Sad. No, it's not the fact we low-key hit dislike Bud. No, it's not that. It was this business move last year. I ain't like that move at all. I hated the fact that he re-signed with Top Rank because I wanted him to go elsewhere to get better fights. That's what I wanted because I want to see Bud tested. I want to see what he could do against fighters I felt were better than what he had fought. So, no, I wasn't happy when he stayed with Top Rank. And the fact that he said he was suing Top Rank for not getting the fights for him. Now, Jay asked me earlier about Tank. I don't like what Tank's done with his resume. I think from watching Tank, I think Tank's a dynamic fighter, but I want to see him in there against the Frank Martins, the Shakur Stevensons, the Devin Haney's. So that's what I want to see for Tank. I think Tank wants to see that. Now, I think Floyd was slow rolling him for him. I think Floyd didn't want to put Tank in there with Loma early on because I don't think he didn't think Tank was probably ready at that time. But Tank himself, I think Tank has all the tools to do it. But he has to show it in the ring against better talent. Nah, Brian, Greg left that on, so.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm back now.
We ain't upset about Bud. It's the fans. It's Bud fans are coming in here saying that we're upset. We're not.
I'm sorry. I know we had a couple of calls come in.
Yeah, we had 2 calls come in.
240, you in the building with the Angry Man Podcast. What's going on with your fam?
Hey, how you doing, man? Kareem,
well.
Najee, just wanted to say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was basically trying to chime in because y'all talking about this. All right, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm a huge Errol Spence fan, and I don't like the way that fight looked. I knew I lost my money the moment I seen him in the dressing room. But all this Terence Crawford going to 168 and all that other stuff, I'll believe it when I see it because I don't really take what he says to heart that much.
You think he capping?
Because I mean, if you really sit back and analyze what he did with the Errol fight, if he really wanted Errol like he said he did, why he didn't fight him in November when they were supposed to fight at November 17th? He didn't fight him then. He pushed it out longer. Errol was so focused on basically trying to get this belt, which I felt like after a while was like you were conceding so much just to get this belt, and it backfired. Like, he got everything. You did all this hard work to be the A-side, and you gave him the A-side. He flipped the coin. He come out with Eminem. Like, everything was – it was almost like he was the A-side. So it just – then you were drained. You killed yourself. Then the rumors about him not being able to, you know, spar for 6 weeks. Then he ran up the little mountain thing in Las Vegas, which is crazy. So, I mean, I don't believe anything because the only reason why he took the fight to me – is because he had an advantage. Other than that, if he didn't have all the advantages, I don't think he was going to actually take the fight because there was really no reason why he shouldn't have took the fight before.
So I have said that and I've thought about what you're saying there, and I do believe that Terence Crawford tries to position himself for a path of least resistance. I do believe that. Whether he was smart and clever enough to set Errol up, or he was clever enough to set Errol up in the sense that Errol conceded things that he shouldn't have conceded in order to make the fight because Errol wanted to give the fans what they wanted and he wanted that third title. But I do believe that Terence Crawford positions himself in ways where it's the path of least resistance. Now, Canelo Alvarez, if he's thinking about moving up to fight Canelo and it's not cap, there's something that they saw in Canelo where they think, maybe we can actually beat this guy. And maybe they've been looking at video or something like that. I don't think Terence Crawford is going to take a fight that he doesn't believe that he can win or is going to pay him a sum of money that can retire him. So there might be some merit to that, but, who knows? You there, caller?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And, I mean, to me, they're talking about he's his all-time great, and he say he's his all-time great and all that. He's a great fighter, but at the same time, it's like he doesn't really – like, when you watch people like Muhammad Ali or you watch Sugar Ray Leonard or you watch Marvin Hagler, they fought people at their best, and they didn't want all these advantages, so it didn't matter.
Right.
So I'm like, how great really is he? If he really, I'm not saying he can't be Spence, but I want to see him fighting a better Spence.
Yeah, I think we all do. Even the Terence Crawford fans want to see him fight a better Spence because they want Crawford to get the glory, right?
Yeah, I mean, you knew something was wrong with that man when you looked in his eyes in the dressing room.
Yeah, I didn't even see that part. I never saw that part. I saw a video. Somebody sent me a video of him walking to the ring because I missed that part too.
Yeah.
But I knew in the first round the way he was moving, they weren't even throwing punches, and I was like, man, his coordination looks off. I think it was Jason Williams, and I'm gonna show Jason Williams some love in this regard. Jason in one of the videos said, "Well, Greg, why didn't you mention anything about DJ actually catching Errol Spence with the pads when he was supposed to block?" And I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, "Damn, I noticed that too, but man, it's nothing. It's nothing." Well, I think it was something. I actually think it was something. Unfortunately.
I think he didn't see. The thing about it is he was caught in a conundrum. He didn't want to say, okay, you know what? I know I'm not going to be 100%. I don't want to do another thing I did with the Pacquiao.
Yeah. Carla, you still there?
Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah, anything else you want to share with the people? Anything else you want to share with the people?
Wait, say that one more time?
I say anything else you want to share with the people?
Nah, that was pretty much it, man. I'm just keep doing what y'all do, and I keep supporting it.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, later. All right, Jay, the phone lines are back open. We've been at it now for about an hour and 51 minutes, so we'll keep it going for a little bit longer.
A few more minutes.
Yeah, we'll keep it going for a little bit longer. We're gonna take one to two more calls. Who calling in? But yeah, man, it's been some good callers here, man, today. I think number one, the Terence Crawford fans that have called in today have been way more balanced, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
718, you in the building with the Angry Man Podcast. What's going on with you, fam? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on, fam?
Hello? How you doing, man?
We're doing well.
Yeah, I appreciate boxing. I see what's going on with boxing, but I'm a Spence fan.
Yeah.
Okay? Just like we all saw what transpired with that fight. I mean, I think anybody that saw the fight the way I did, you would agree that Spence wasn't his best. We never seen Spence like that, nor have we seen Terence Crawford like that. Okay, right. The way Terence Crawford was knocking him down, we never seen that from Spence. We seen Spence fight bigger boxers. He had gotten hit harder, and he stood the test of time and got through the fight. So what I've seen in that fight, the one punch power, I never saw that from Terence Crawford and any other opponents that he's fought.
Right.
Now, even when Spence fought Ugas, think about it. If Spence is telling the truth, he said, I thought I got my teeth knocked out. So you telling me he was getting hit so hard, he thought he lost his teeth in the fight. That's getting hit hard. So I don't know about this. I think Terence is very talented. I think he's talented. I think he's athletic. But the way he did Spence is it's like, wow, man, watching this. So I'm hoping when they do the rematch, that things will be different, because I know Spence fight better than that. You got Derrick James saying that basically they're going to stick to the game plan when they move forward. If they fight at 154, it seems like Derrick James still have the confidence in his fight. Yeah. Now, some might say Derrick James, maybe he's delusional. I don't think he is, brother. I think there's a lot of things they're not saying about what happened with the fight, and there's some things they know that we don't know. That's why Spence is not saying stuff. He's not really saying a lot. It's his fans, like myself, people that know how Spence fight. We worried about certain things. We saying certain things about Terence Crawford team and his corner. What were they doing over there? The snack program and everything like that. Not to get into all of that, but you got to take in consideration with certain things. I think Bud Crawford fans, I think they just so happy with the win. They're not considering anything else.
Right.
Now, Terence Crawford was very smart in the way he did it to make Spence wait. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of things that he did, not to get into that, to make Spence wait and different things like that. But I just hope Spence learned his lesson. I do believe he was drained. Now, I've heard a lot of people say when it came to Spence that, he looked the same, like all of his fights. He did not look the same.
No.
Spence did not look the same.
I agree with that.
I thought when he got to the weigh-in that he looked real good. I never saw him look like that. It seemed like he looked real good, but there was something else going on with his body that we couldn't see. We couldn't figure it out. Because even when he fought Danny Garcia, and then he fought Ugas, he looked drained to me more in those fights. But he was stronger in those fights. So you tell me what's going on. I don't know. He actually looked good this last fight as far as physically because he had the nutritionist and the dietitian and stuff like that. But I'm trying to figure out what's wrong this time around. If he didn't have this guy before, what happened this time around? He was so drained.
Let me mention this. Let me mention this. And I said this, I think I did this video 2 or 3 weeks ago or something like that. And now Blue Blood has also done a video. And I told you guys, you'll probably start hearing this come out more as people get their hands on it. But I was told from a reliable source, and I know where they got their information from, that Errol Spence had a rib injury during training camp and was not training and preparing the way that he should have, and had to lose the weight by other means. And that's partially why we saw Errol in the version of Errol that we saw in the ring. That's what I was told. Blue Blood has now also done a video 2 weeks later after I dropped my video, or our video, if you will. But here's the thing: only fighters know. The fighters and the insiders know exactly what's going on. Errol Spence is not really speaking. He's not saying nothing. You get what I'm saying? Because I believe, some people was quoting what he said on Twitter shortly after the fight about even if I had excuses, I wouldn't let you know. I think he was talking to mainly Terence Crawford and him. Even if there was an excuse, I'm not going to let you know about it. So he's holding his peace, and I really think that he knows what to do the next fight. All of this, he needs to retire and all of that. They didn't tell Mike Tyson he needs to retire when he lost from Buster Douglas. They didn't tell all these cats that be losing, that's been reigning for a long time being champions, and when they lose one time, you need to retire. This dude got the heart of a lion, and he's ready to get back what was taken from him. And that's just it. Now, if he can't beat Terence Crawford again, listen, it is what it is. But what happens if he does beat Terence Crawford? Then what? Come on, so you got to leave it open. They have a rematch clause for a reason. And me personally, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, I think it's going to be a trilogy. That's just me. I think we heading towards that. I don't know. I hope so. All right. Anything else you want to share with the people?
I just want to share with you guys, man. I watch y'all on a regular. When y'all come on, when y'all come on sometime, I don't catch y'all, but I watch the replays and stuff like that. Y'all doing a good work, man. Y'all some honest gentlemen.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. You have a good one. Later. All right, 904 calling in, and then we're going to try to get Terence in. I saw Terence call. 904, you in the building with Greg and Jason. What's going on with you?
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Daddy P with Slap Happy Gorilla. What?
What's going on with you, Greg?
Everything good. Hey, I watch y'all show all the time, support sometimes. And I like Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. I did pick Crawford to win. Mm-hmm. And, thing I will admit, it was some things that was a little off about the fight. And, it's a lot of stuff going around, whatever, but it's sports, man. This is sports. Sports is we go pick a day and a time, and we go do this. And whoever wins is going to win. Yep. And we can't, if you take away, the reason why I feel Errol Spence is not making excuses, first of all, he understands that what sports is.
and he signed on the dotted line. And another thing is, like, if he get his opportunity at a rematch, he cannot diminish Terence Crawford's skills. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And because, and Floyd Mayweather said this best, like, if you diminish somebody's skills to say, oh, this person ain't nobody, this person ain't nothing, and then you beat him, what have you said that you've done? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I agree with that.
Errol, if he does get his chance, he's not making no excuse, oh, well, this happened. And he say, man, Terence Crawford was the better man tonight, whatever. So if he get another chance and he wins, now he can say that he beat a great fighter. He got his revenge back, But, I mean, just like, okay, Manny Pacquiao beat the brakes off of Oscar De La Hoya, and that was like the beginning of Manny Mania. But De La Hoya was weight drained, but De La Hoya knew what he was doing when he came in, But, I think that a lot of things need to be done, though. I really hope that Spence does take the rematch. I would like to see him do it. Not this year. You know what I'm saying? I think that Crawford would probably honor it because Crawford was grateful, and he admitted it. He told Spence several times, hey, I appreciate you, and he admitted that Spence conceded a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, to fight him, and I think that speaks volumes about Errol Spence. That's how bad he wanted the fight to happen, and that's how bad he wanted to be undisputed. You know what I'm saying? So, with all in all, I really hope that healthy Errol Spence takes the rematch. I don't want to see him do it December, none of that, man. I hope that he get an opportunity to fight probably like maybe next summer, man. He needs some time, and he does need to work on a lot of stuff, man. Errol Spence, he's been the bigger, stronger guy at 147 in most of his fights. And he was able to do things against guys, even compromise, like Danny Garcia. He came off of that car accident. Danny Garcia has limitations in his skills, and he was able to beat him. None of these guys were like the fighters that Terence Crawford is. But in order to beat Terence Crawford, he's going to have to change a lot. And you could tell that their training camp was not geared towards beating Terence Crawford. Their training camp was geared towards sharpening skills that he had already to beat the fighters he had already beat. And I think they really underestimated Crawford because he was the smaller guy. And they thought that they could do enough to beat him with what they beat past fighters with. But Terence Crawford is a special fighter. You got to recognize his skills. And until they, do that, I think Spence lose the rematch. But if they come in there, Derrick James, they have a blueprint to beat Terence Crawford. I think they have a better chance because you could tell that Terence Crawford and his team, their training camp was not based on the skills that Terence Crawford had and beat past fighters. Their training camp was geared toward beating Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford touched on that right after the fight, saying how they practiced the jab, you know what I'm saying, to Errol Spence, you know what I'm saying, to kind of take away his effective jab. So it's a lot of to go, but I would like to see Errol Spence get the rematch, be healthy. But hey, we got to give Terence Crawford his props, and I think that's the reason why Errol Spence is not saying a lot in the media. When he come back, he don't want to have excuses. You know what I'm saying? He want to be able to say, okay, when I come back, if I beat Terence Crawford, I beat a great fighter, and now we go to the trilogy. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got, man. I know y'all about to leave, man. This is Daddy P. And if y'all don't mind, man, I'll put my my channel in the link.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Appreciate y'all, man. God bless.
All right, man. Love.
Be easy now.
I actually don't disagree with that. I think I'm only gonna take Terence, man. We're gonna wrap up with Terence. So Terence, give us a call. We're gonna wrap up with you, and then that's it. Man, we got a couple people calling in. We only gonna take Terence to this last call, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But man, I truly do feel like Errol came in there with, I'm gonna walk him down, I'm gonna break him. I'm gonna walk him down, I'm gonna break him. I'm gonna walk him down, I'm gonna break him. And I don't think they came prepared necessarily for a plan B. I do think that's part of the issue. Because it just, I don't know, man. It just, yeah, something was just not right with their game plan too. I think it was a perfect storm. I really do think it was a perfect storm for Errol. That's why he was so confident that he can do better after the match. I think he knew that. All right, well, Terrence not calling in. I'm gonna take 289 then. 289, you in the building? What's going on with you?
Yo. What's popping with you, fam? It's Easy Bands.
Easy, what's going on, bro?
Easy Band?
I just had to call in, man. You feel me? And chop it up with y'all, man. Y'all stay hating on my boy Bud, man. What's
God, man. Why you say we easy? We're not hating, dog. Like, we're not hating, bro. We like Terence Crawford. What do we say that right, just because you give your opinion doesn't mean it's hate?
Come on, bro. All right, so let's get back to some of the facts that you guys were talking about, right? So,
all right,
when it comes to, you guys keep on pushing this Puss in Boots fight, right? But if we look at Puss in Boots' situation and the standing right now, he's got no major fights behind him, right? He's not a name. He doesn't have a fan base. So basically, Bud isn't getting anything out of that fight. Now, the reason why. So I know you guys are probably going to say, "Oh, but he took the Avanesian fight, right?"
Mm-hmm. Right. You say BLK,
but that was before.
Some money.
Okay, so that was before he became undisputed. That was before he made that name for himself. And at the same time, Avanesian has a better resume than Boots. So what do you guys have to say about that?
Boots is his mandatory. If he stays at 147, he should fight him.
But he's got 5 mandatories right now, potentially.
Yeah, but Boots is the one that everybody wants to see him against because that's the challenge at 147. So he should make the fight.
But who's everybody? You guys, just because you guys, Spence fans or Bud haters, want him to fight Boots, that doesn't mean everybody wants it. Obviously not.
Okay,
right? Because,
so who's the better option?
Who should he fight at 147?
Who should he fight if he stays at 147?
Who should he? I'd want him to fight Keith Thurman before,
because he's the easiest fight. Because he's an easier fight. That's exactly why.
No. Yo, I think Keith Thurman is a tougher fight than Boots, man.
He is not.
I mean, that's up to debate, right? But I think Keith Thurman, not only is he a tougher fight, he's proven, he's got a name, he's a former champion, and he's got name recognition, he's got a fan base.
Boots is a current. So hold on. So you made the comment that Boots doesn't have a fan base. That's not true. That's number one. Number two, Boots is a current champion, not a former. He's a current champion. And you're telling me that Keith Thurman, who's 35 years old or so, who has come off shoulder surgery, who's been out of the ring for what, maybe at least 18 months, if not 2 years, and had to go through a fat camp just to get to a point where he can actually do. He's going to be a tougher opponent than a 26-year-old fighter that fights just like Terence Crawford and is bigger.
Yeah, I definitely think that Keith Thurman is going to be a tougher fight because he's more experienced. He's been at that level before. It's nothing new for him. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, he's a former champ, like a real champ. Boots isn't a champ, bro.
What do you mean he's not a champ?
He's a champ of what?
He's the IBF interim.
Come on, man.
You gotta fight him. You gotta fight him.
So hold on. Is what do you call it? Is Terence Crawford, is he undisputed right now? Does he hold all the titles at 147?
He does, and if he gives up that title, guess who's the actual champion for the IBF? Boots.
So how is Boots the champion if Terence Crawford is the champion?
You can only be an interim champion, and you got to fight the reason why they have interim champions is because you have these champions that have to, if they're unified, they end up fighting somebody else, right? That's the whole reason why you had an interim champion. So if he's not fighting somebody else like an Errol Spence, then he needs to fight Jermall Ennis. Like, I don't understand why is Jermall Ennis easy ban? Is Jermall Ennis his mandatory?
He's one of the mandatories.
Is he a mandatory?
Terence Crawford holds 4 belts right now, so each belt has a mandatory.
I understand that. Is Jermall Ennis one of them?
I said yes, he's one of them. Yeah,
fight him. That's it. Fight him. All this stuff about he doesn't have this, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have. Fight him. If you stay at 147, fight him. Or move.
But this is my thing though. Why should Bud fight Jermall Boots Ennis right now first when he's got nothing going for him? That's what I'm saying. Bud's got 4 mandatories at 147, and you know what I'm saying, and Boots is the least of those in terms of name recognition, in terms of, you know, I won't say he's the least, right? But he has people in front of him in terms of like you know, money fight or whatever it is. If Bud stays at 147, his best bet is to go and fight Keith Thurman, and that's who Errol Spence is going to fight.
I agree. I think his best bet is to go fight Keith Thurman if he wants to win and he wants a payday. I think that's his best. I think that's his best bet. I think if he wants his best challenge, that's against Jermall Ennis.
I mean, but if you say best challenge, right? Mm-hmm. What has Boots shown us to prove that he's the best challenge? Because I'm telling you right now, Keith Thurman has shown us that he's the best challenge. We could go and see tape.
Yeah, back in
we could we can check his record. We could check all that.
So can I ask you a question?
This is his biggest challenge.
So how did Keith Thurman look against Barrios?
That's one fight where, you know what I'm saying, where he didn't perform up to his level because maybe he wasn't, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? He wasn't inspired to train as hard, or he wasn't inspired to go as hard. You know that a lot of fighters fight to the level of their competition. And that's been the same thing that's been said of Terence Crawford as well.
Okay. My point is, Keith Thurman. Yes, and that's the most recent. That's the most recent version of Keith Thurman, and that is the Keith Thurman that came from the Manny Pacquiao fight. Where 16 months ago, where Keith Thurman coming out of the Manny Pacquiao fight, going into the Manny Pacquiao fight was hurt. Coming out of the Barrios fight, still needed rehab. And now he had to have a fat camp to get to a point where he is not the greater competition. Let me tell you something. You're fooling yourself because you know that that's the fight that you don't want to see Terence Crawford. Why does everybody have such an issue? Like, why? What's up with all these fanagers? Everybody got an issue with Terence Crawford, or at least his fans got an issue with him fighting Jermall Ennis. If he's a tomato can, if he ain't fought nobody, whatever. There's been people had way less criteria and resumes, and they got title shots. I don't want to hear that. He's the mandatory, and he's the most dangerous opponent at that weight class. It's just as simple as that. Now, if he's moving up, that's fine.
But he's not though, and you don't have any facts that you can point to.
And you don't have any facts that Keith Thurman. I already pointed that Keith Thurman is 35 years old, coming off of a shoulder injury and needed surgery and a 16-month layoff in a fat camp, versus a guy that's 26 years old and just destroyed Villa, who had never been knocked out before, and fights just like Terence Crawford, but he's bigger.
Come on, bro. Now all of a sudden Villa is some sort of like monster. Villa is a nobody.
I didn't say he was a fighter. Or a monster. I just said he's a good fighter that's never been knocked out and beat Rashidi Ellis. That's it.
Villa basically stood in front of him like a punching bag.
Okay, so it's about resume. Go ahead, Jay.
Real quick. Us saying that we want him to fight Boots, we never said Boots gonna beat Bud. Notice we said Bud would beat Boots. We think that's the tougher, better fight if he stays at 147. That's what we're saying. You can't tell me that Thurman is better right now based on his last performance, which was 16 months ago. If he fights Thurman, let's say EJ doesn't invoke this rematch for December, but decides to fight in December, that'd be damn near two years since Thurman last fall. You think that's a better matchup?
Yeah, I do. You know why? I'm telling you guys why. I'm telling you. I'm telling you guys why, bro. Because listen, no matter how you want to slice it up, if we look at what do you call it? Let's even look at Boots' last two performances, right? Against total nobodies. The Karen Chikudazian guy, he was ranked the 29th welterweight in the world when Boots faced him. All right, and Boots failed to get him out of there. Boots was spinning around. If anything, that Karen Chikudazian guy, if he had just a little bit of power, he'd have KO'd Boots, man. I know you guys know this. If you watch, you watch that fight back and see how Boots was getting hit.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, right? That's fine. So
all right,
let me.
And then the next. Sorry. All right, go ahead, man. My bad.
I was just gonna say I was gonna bring up this poll because you said everybody doesn't want to see Jermall. I did a poll. It has 6,300 votes on it. 5% wants to see Keith Thurman. 5%. 5%. They either want to see Bud in the ring with Jermell Charlo or Jerron Ennis.
All right, so your poll, right? If we now take that poll and say, who are these people that's voting for this poll? Are these people that support Errol Spence and hate Bud, or are these real, like, how can I put it, in between fans, like who don't care, like whichever way it goes type thing?
Yeah. So my thing is this: when you start talking about statistical sampling, once you get over 30 example or 30, I'm losing the term, but once you get over 30, you can start relying on that poll. We got 6,300 people that voted, so it's going to be a wide disbursement or a normal distribution of people who support both Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. So based off of the logic of statistics.
That's like saying that's like going to the Republican Party and polling Republicans on whether they want Hillary Clinton to be president or not. You feel me?
Yeah, but I'm not. I can't specifically poll people.
What?
I can't poll only Errol Spence fans. I don't have the ability to only poll Errol Spence fans. I get what you're saying, but I can't direct it to anybody. So it's a normal distribution of people. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, so my last point to this whole Keith Thurman and Boots thing is that we can look at their resumes and we can look at the experience that they both have, right? Even just the two last fights that you're talking about. Keith Thurman fought Manny Pacquiao in his second last fight. You know, Boots fought the 29th ranked welterweight. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You can't even compare the two, bro.
Yeah, Manny was old. Anyway, he lost to an old Manny Pacquiao. Manny got dusted by Ugas, who you guys said were trash or was trash. So now, what's your point?
Yeah, I didn't say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you thought it. But you thought it.
All those guys, Ugas, and even Spence, right? Because you know what's happening now? It's like Spence has become like a caricature. Like you guys, not you guys, right? But the aerosexuals have kind of like destroyed his image, right? Because of all these excuses and stuff like that. Now it just seems like he was never a great fighter. It just seems like he was just like a, how can I put this? Like a B level fighter. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like now. And then I hear this excuse about Bud taking advantage. What's that about, bro? How did Bud take advantage of the situation in terms of the fight with Errol Spence?
Oh, they're talking about financially.
Okay, that's good business, right?
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I mean, Errol shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is.
Okay, I thought they were saying that Bud basically he made Spence he pushed Spence to a point where Spence was he couldn't make weight anymore and stuff like that. Like it was all part of Bud's plan and to make the fight easy for himself. I thought that's what they were saying, but
no.
But anyways, man, I appreciate you guys letting me on. You know, I'll be back next weekend or something, but I appreciate you guys letting me on. Y'all keep doing y'all thing, man, and stop hating on my boy, bro.
Man, I appreciate you calling in, Easy Man. Appreciate your support for the channel, man.
Respect.
Right.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks. Peace.
All right, later.
That's respect.
That's our dude, Easy Band, man, a big Terence Crawford fan. T said Greg has his super hater cap on. I do not hate Terence Crawford. I truly enjoy Terence Crawford as a person. a husband, a father, a man. I literally was one of the people that were saying, go buy the Aqua Bud gear. I said, go buy the Aqua Bud gear because I want Terence Crawford and Errol Spence to be rich forever. Because I do want both of those guys to walk away from the sport healthy and rich. So all this stuff about me hating Terence Crawford is simply not true. I just disagree with some of his takes. That's all. Jay.
But Greg, last thing for me about this whole Boots thing, we've already said the best fight for Bud at 147 is Boots. We're picking Bud to beat Boots still.
Yep.
That's just 147. I don't understand why people fail to understand that. I don't understand that.
It's only 154, man. I mean, 147. That's it. If he chooses to move to 154, he's not ducking Boots. We've already said that.
No, he's not. Not at all.
And especially if he moves to 168 to fight Canelo.
That's not a duck at all.
I can't call that a duck, man. That's like going 3 weight classes. That's dangerous. Now, maybe he thinks he sees something in Canelo Alvarez. Now, maybe that's what you were talking about, Easy Band. That I think he does try. I think he does make calculations in his head in terms of the minimizing the risk and maximizing the reward. I do believe he makes those calculations in his head. But regardless, moving up 3 weight classes, that's very dangerous. So. Especially against somebody like Canelo Alvarez, if Canelo were to win, because I just think Canelo is a very smart fighter that is highly, highly skilled as well. So that would be an interesting fight, man. I want to see if he goes up and tries to do it, and if he does, I mean, fantastic. We'll be the recipients of an amazing fight, and if not, then we won't. Jeffrey Sharp say, Greg, cap. I don't know what I said that was cap. I'm not really sure. I think, Jay, you and I were talking the other day, and I truly do believe that people want to position us and this channel as just Terence Crawford haters. We hate them because they want someone to come and react to. React to these guys that can't stand Terence Crawford. I don't hate Terence Crawford. I disagree with some of the things that Terence Crawford has done. But sometimes you guys create narratives that have never been said on this channel whatsoever. Not once. So, I mean, it is what it is.
I just don't understand it. That's just crazy to me. It's stuff that, I mean, I guess we get grouped into any other channels that may have said something about Bud was personal.
Probably.
Or anything like that. Or said he was too small, he's weak, anything like that. We never said that. We even said it was a 50-50 fight. We just picked Spence, who was an underdog in this fight. That's who we rock with. After the fight, we gave Bud all the credit in the world. He dominated. He did what he was supposed to do. So I don't get it. No one's saying that. We're not saying that Boots is going to beat beat Bud. We're saying 147. That's the best fight. 154. Bud can do whatever he really wants at that point, but he wants to be 3-time undisputed.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for joining the show again. We got 196 people in the building. Before you leave or exit, please make sure you hit the like button so other people can find this content. Tomorrow, Gary Russell Jr. interview drops. Did an interview with Gary Russell over the weekend. I visited his gym a few weeks ago. Gary Russell, man, real stand-up dude, man. Real cool dude, man. Down-to-earth dude. So you guys get opportunity to hear that interview. He talks about Errol, Terence. He talks about his brother. He talks about how Terence may fare at 168 pounds. And he also talks about what's in the future for him. So very interesting takes from Gary Russell. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on the show for multiple years as we continue to build our relationship with that gym. And guys, so until next time, peace. And we've wrapped up another